Hey guys, welcome back. Happy New Year. I know obviously we're about halfway through January already, or maybe a quarter of the way, third of the way, I don't know. But I figured I would sit down and answer some of your questions that I've gotten over the past several months. I like to do these Q&As because I don't get asked a lot of questions, but every once in a while they'll start to build up, and so I collect them over seasons, if you will. So that's what we're going to be doing today, and that's what we're going to be talking about. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe to Life on Point. There's going to be some brand changes and a lot of new content in the future, which I'm super excited about. So be sure to check out the description box down below so that you can stay updated. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at the Ellie Way and life.onpoint. And I am excited for the future. So give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it, subscribe if you haven't already, and without further ado, let's get into this. We've got a couple of questions that I thought were kind of fun. And it has a lot to do with the fact that I am teaching. I did announce that on my more personal platforms like Facebook and my personal Instagram. But I had a really fun question from someone, which was, as a ballet teacher, do you use the staff? Now, in some cultures, it is okay to use a staff to basically, they have like a cane. These like ballet masters and mistresses will have a cane, and they'll either poke and prod at the dancer or they'll smack the dancer. Not exactly what I recommend. That is abuse. But I do not use a cane. The first time I ever ran into a teacher with a cane was frightening. I was probably, I want to say 7 years old, and we were practicing for the Nutcracker. It was my first performance ever, and the Russian ballet teacher did have a cane, but she just walked around with it. And then one of my ballet masters, he actually carried around a cane. We weren't sure why. We weren't sure if it was because he had like knee joint pain, or if he just liked, banging it against the floor to like help us with timing. But I was never hit with a cane, so I'm very thankful for that. What do you love about teaching? I love seeing the student get it. The most rewarding thing about teaching is when you, one, teach them something that they don't know, but then also when they get it, like when it just translates, when the information goes from their brain to their bodies and you see it happen, and then they just do it, and then they're just so overjoyed by the fact that they can do it now because they didn't think it was possible before because it wasn't working for them. I have a student that I work with privately, and she was always saying how she couldn't turn, she can't, how she was scared of turning. And I was talking to her about, if you were blind and you were doing a pirouette with your eyes closed, what would it feel like? And so it was an exercise actually that I took from my ballet instructor at my previous company. And he did this a lot to help me with my sense of balance. And so it was just something that I got to impart to the kids, and seeing her be able to get it and then dance it and then see how happy she was at the very end because she got it was so rewarding for me to see. Yeah, I absolutely love teaching. It is one of my favorite things, to be honest with you. I think some people are going to be shocked by this statement, but honestly, if I never dance professionally with a company ever again, but I get the privilege of teaching for the rest of my life, I would be perfectly happy. I love teaching. I love imparting to the dancers what the wisdom and the instruction of my previous ballet masters and ballet teachers, and I just find it to be really rewarding. What's your advice for career change? I think if you're not happy in one arena, move on to the next thing. Don't stay in a place that you're truly unhappy unless you know that it is truly what you're meant to do. For me, I've run into many times with dance where I've wanted to quit, but I knew it was what I wanted to do, so I never did. And I'm very happy I never quit. But I will say that as I've gotten older, as I have gotten a little bit more experience in the dance world and talking with teachers and choreographers and looking at different school programs, I think it might be time for me to potentially change my career from professional dancer to a teacher and an instructor. So there are things that I am doing to pursue a degree to get a teaching credentials for dance. But I'm also not ruling out companies completely. I think just right now is not the right time to audition for companies for me. I also really love to freelance. I love to dance, and I do love freelancing and working with different organizations and dancing and performing for them. If you are in the process of trying to figure out, should I change my career, I would really consider, how is it going to impact my life? What do I need to do? What are my steps to get there? And also, is it going to make me happy? Is it going to bring me joy? Is this my dream life that I would be creating if I did make this career change? And then at that point, once you've asked all yourself that question, those questions, based on, if you feel like it's a good idea, go for it. If you think it's a bad idea for you, then don't. But don't get stuck because of fear. That's my greatest advice if you're trying to pursue a career change. Advice on auditions. This season, auditions are going to be atrocious. It's going to be very hard, and I was telling one of my students this. If you can send in a video audition, it's very, very, very hard to do Zoom auditions. If you can afford to, do both. That way they for sure see you. Just because you send in a video audition does not always mean it will be viewed, just for your information. And if you are doing Zoom auditions, because many people are not doing in-person auditions, I really suggest having good lighting. Make sure that you have a well-lit room, maybe invest in a ring light. I will link a couple of things from Amazon that you could actually purchase that will make it a little bit better. And that way you're a little bit better lit and people can see you better. Also, I would highly suggest wearing a bold colored leotard that you feel comfortable in. If you're in black, you're gonna just get kind of washed out, or even white, you'll probably get washed out into the crowd. But if you're wearing a color, it might be easier for you to stand out. I'll also link in a card Catherine Morgan's video on audition tips. Because she does a great job at explaining it, and she will do a much better job than I could ever explain. Number 4, what's your advice on overcoming disappointment? I think honestly you have to get to a point when it's an acceptance thing for me. I find that if I am disappointed with something, it's an acceptance issue. And I tend to be very hard on myself when I hope in things, because there are often times when things don't go my way, and I don't always handle things the best. But when I am having a hard time and going through a series of disappointments, what I normally do is I write it out. I do this thing called morning pages. And sometimes it's not exclusive to the morning, but I started emotionally processing out on paper what happened and why I'm disappointed and what I wanted the outcome to be, and then what the current outcome is. And then writing, I feel this emotion because this X, Y, and Z happened. It helps a lot process disappointment in a healthy fashion. And then at that point, once you've written it out, you can say, okay, how is this going to impact my life? Is it going to matter in 5 years? I tend to not remember a lot of the disappointing situations purely because it was so long ago and my life is very full. if that makes any sense. It's very full and lively and busy that I don't have time to dwell on the disappointments. The other thing I would say is that if you're dwelling on disappointments, it also means that you're dwelling in the past, and the past is what hinders you from getting to your future. And I would also just, think of disappointment as like water rolling off your back, because you don't want to absorb that disappointment and then have a bitterness that comes out of disappointment. All right, question 5. How do you manage to lead such a busy life and still maintain a life with friends, family, church members, etc.? You know what? People ask me this question a lot, and the truth is I'm a workaholic. I don't stop working. I have a lot of projects that I work on with my business, and then I also do multiple things at once. I am a multitasker. I have been blessed with that gift. But at times it's very hard for me to. I have to be in the right headspace in order to multitask. So for me, what I like to do is, if I can remote work, if a lot of my projects have to do with remote work, I'll take it to my friend's house, my social bubble, I like to call it for quarantine, but I'll take it to my friend's house and we'll just hang out, and while they're doing homework, while they're studying, while they're doing whatever they need to be doing, I'm working. And we have passing conversations and all that stuff, and then we tend to, once everything is done, and my friends are very good about keeping me accountable to this, but once it's all said and done, then we usually cook dinner, we have full conversations, we'll watch a movie, play a game or something like that, just chill and hang out, or we'll just sit around the kitchen table, and that's a popular thing we like to do, is all sit in the kitchen and just chat about whatever is happening. Yeah, that's a way that I tend to balance my relationship with friends and work. Family, we have made it a priority, me and my family, and we've been very fortunate that we are able to have the privilege of making time in our schedules to be able to do that. But we have set aside days where we don't touch them, and they are just for family. Now, sometimes if we do have work travels going on or something like that, we will, maybe one of us won't be a part of it, but for the most part, we're all together. I'm not gonna lie, it is hard with my church members in church that I'm in attendance with. We have our life groups that we plug into if we can. Most of the time I am working and I am around people a lot, which is really hard for me because I'm an introvert. So most of my time recently has been spent with people. And so over the course of Christmas break and the New Year, I have really been enjoying just getting my head down and working. I do have a team now for Life on Point, so that does help me a lot be able to disperse some of the work. And then it also helps me just stay on track. And finally, what was the biggest thing you learned in 2020? Gosh, there was so many things I learned about in 2020. I'll go over a few of them. Number 1, business-wise, I learned so much about how to build a better business, how to maintain relationships with clients, budgeting. I learned a lot about financial responsibility this past year and really practicing wise financial decisions. I do tend to stay 5 years ahead in my life. Even if I don't know where I'm going, I like to think long term, which can be really detrimental to me because then I start stressing myself out. But I do like to think about, one day, what would I like to have? What kind of passive income can I create? Things like that. So I learned a lot about that. I learned so much about myself, both a painful time and a healing time, because I did have some uprooted relationships that happened that was really difficult for me. We have more of an understanding now with each other in those relationships. But I know that they weren't necessarily healthy for me at that point in time and could in the future be detrimental to me, based on, just impression. And the people you surround yourself with, can put an effect on your mindsets, your beliefs, and the way you live your life. And so I just wanted to make sure that I was surrounding myself with people that had similar values as me. Maybe not the exact same, and I'm not saying that I only have friends that are the same as me, because I can tell you I have a lot of different friends, but I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about my worth. I learned a lot about how to kindly, set boundaries, and I also really learned about my inner strength and my that I am a powerful person. I learned a lot about communication. I'm still working on communication, but it is a lot better right now than it ever was. And yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot about relationships as well. Relational wise, I think this has been one of the most challenging years, and learning about love and what does love look like and what does loving someone look like. And I think the greatest thing I learned in 2020 was, about love in particular, was love is not blind. Obsession is blind, but love sees the flaws and the imperfections and still chooses to stay and still chooses to love and to practice loving one another. And I think love is choosing. Love is a choice. Love is not a feeling, and that is something I have learned, is because I think being in love is more of a feeling, and that's my personal belief, but I believe that love is a choice, and if you choose to love someone every day, then you will have a solid relationship, and that is something that I believe and something that I learned over 2020. And the last question, you guys have asked a couple of really personal questions. One of them is relational wise, regarding my personal life, if I am dating anyone and things like that. Yes, I did date last year, and I am in the process of just making decisions and seeing what's best for me, and I am dating, and so yeah, it's an exciting time. I'm not going to say anything more than that, but yeah, it has been a very good time. It's been very enlightening in a lot of ways, and really good in a lot of ways. So, and the other question was, am I happy? Yes, I am extremely happy. I am very content, and I don't think there's ever been a time where I've been more content with where I am in life, and where I'm just kind of like, okay, whatever happens, when we get to that bridge, we'll cross it. So yeah, that's it for today's Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys have any more questions, please be sure to write it down below in the comment section, or you can send it to me via Instagram. So again, thank you so much for supporting Life on Point, for supporting me. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in my next video. Mwah. Bye!